That seems to me that might be
Halder taking the cut through. Here we go. He's going to close in on Silva. He took the cut through on the corkscrew last time too. Is he going to do that again here?
Let's see, he's awful close to Silva. Silva goes a little bit deep. He is going to cut right through, comes in front of him, but he's a little bit out of sorts. Car manages to get itself back together, and Nico Silva tries to cut back on him, gives him another little hello, sneaks inside, down into turn 10, and makes a pass. I can't remember the last time I saw a pass into that turn.
It's going to take a brave move for the four chicanes here. No side-by-side yet from Sanchez. Trangarade will have to hold on through a tight section. White flag coming to checkered flag now. Sanchez needs a big corner exit here. Hard through the corner towards the final chicane. A slide for Trangarade. He hits the turtles. Sanchez with the pole. Side by side, they all slide. Trangarade wins it. My goodness, what happened?
Is that going to be enough to counteract anything? That's a battle for the lead as well. Frisha trying around the outside now. He's going to try to hold it out, but again, Paulie Partonen able to hold it out. Oh my goodness.
And in the back, you can just see that is Juan Costa looking out of place, trying to get on the inside of Jukka Tolonen as they come around side by side and just shoved out to the grass. Thomas Simon has struck. He struck again, the second time in two corners. On the inside, going around the Lesbo 1 into Lesbo 2. Jukka Tolonen and Thomas Simon going at it. As we jump back to the car number 66 in ninth position, that is going to be Steve Way, looking to make the move on Alexander Wilfred on the outside, making it nice and tidy. Hold on to your hats, come on. Don't do it now, gentlemen. It's still a bit too early. Oh, on the inside, it's still holding. So he's hugging the inside curve as much as he can. Steve Dwyer on the last corner of the last lap makes a move and overtakes to take 8th position.
I think he has as well, but here comes the move for Philip Hammer. It's going to be down to the inside, going through the first corner, done and dusted. Lucetta tries to fight him back a little bit, but it's a little bit too late. But no, Lucetta's going to have the inside coming up the rise to Druids.
And in through Druids goes the slides. Philip Hammer's not able to make it effective on the outside, but on the inside.
Philip Hammer's decisive championship left little doubt as to who was the quickest this season. 4 poles and 3 wins in only 6 rounds was a rather stunning display. But now, all that is put aside as we get ready to watch the Absolute Beginners League Race of Champions, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director, Ryan Bauer, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Bathurst has been the host of the Race of Champions in previous seasons, but in case our viewers missed those, we have our track guide to help introduce you. Welcome to Mount Panorama Circuit. Most drivers simply refer to this place as Bathurst, with it being located just to the southwest of the city's major hub. But most ominously, and perhaps appropriately, it's been nicknamed the Mountain. With more than 500 feet of elevation change over the course of a lap, it's easy to understand why. Though originally built for racing, it's become a street circuit over time, with the track itself used for regular traffic and featuring residential housing all along the roads. This makes this 4-mile, 23-turn course incredibly unique in the world of racing. In the past, the track has hosted a variety of types of cars, including open-wheelers. But modern safety standards means that most competitive racing has now been limited to sports cars and touring cars. However, the dangers are very real due to the incredibly high speeds and lack of runoff throughout much of the circuit. The quickest parts are the run up the mountain straight towards Griffin's Bend, and then the flat-out blast back down the Conrad Straight and into the chase. This chicane was added in the late 80s to break up the run down to Murray's Corner. But while most chicanes are derided for ruining the character of a track, the terrifying speed as you approach it and the general difficulty make it fit right in with Bathurst challenges. However, the toughest portions are undoubtedly along the mountain itself, with notorious corners like the Cutting, Rock Skyline, the Dipper, and Forest Elbow. In fact, one of the more unique worries of this course is that all of these parts are so narrow that track blockages due to wrecks are not uncommon in the first few laps. The Australian fans often line the fences and hillsides to witness the daredevil spectacle of drivers trying to claim King of the Mountain. You can't blame them with how rare of a sight a track like Bathurst is today. Well, we have showed up in the V8 supercar, but it's the old version of this one. So, DJ, this should be quite fitting and a lot of fun, I imagine.
It certainly should be, Joe, and these cars are going to feel right at home here, as you can imagine. But in these cars, a lot of the same overtaking opportunities are going to exist. The really two best chances are going to be going down into Griffin's Bend and then down into the chase. Once you get up and going on the hill, it's going to be very, very difficult to get any sort of move done, although we have seen some good overtakes getting done down into Murray's or Hell Corner. Up and down the hill, that's always where it's tricky, specifically the run down from Skyline all the way through Forest Elbow. So much momentum being carried in these heavy V8 supercars. Drivers are going to have to be very, very careful about it.
Indeed, but this race is going to be a little bit different. First of all, because it's going to be races. As you see, it is that V8 supercar. This is the 2014 edition of the Ford Falcon that they're running, and it's 2-lap heat races that they have on tap here. So there's going to be a few of them that they'll be running. Now, it says 4 drivers per heat. They have upped that, and that is now 8 drivers per heat. 10 will advance to the finale. And there are no track limits is the big part. So this is going to be a little bit of fun. This is not one to be taken all that seriously. And it does actually involve some strategy into how you use those sort of off tracks, because there's no limit to them, DJ. And we've seen this format before in the Race of Champions, and I can attest it is both wild and amusing.
Oh, it most certainly is, Joe, and you are seeing one of the most important things. The jump is in play. Ludwig Sauer trying to make it work there. It's high risk, high reward there. Let's see here if Wojciech Podacek is going to decide to do it. Now, obviously, the biggest cut you can really get is going over Skyline. That's a pretty easy cut that you can make, but if you can make the jump work without getting too much damage, Wojciech has got it perfectly. That can save you a whole bucket load of time.
And they have to remember, though, it is 2 laps as well. And we saw last time doing that jump on the first lap is a bit risky because of that potential for damage. So we'll be looking out for that as this goes on. We're currently in the midst of a little bit of practice before they get going in just about 2 minutes time. The first heat race will be gridded up, and this is done according to scoring. Basically, the drivers do a couple of heat races. They're going to get jumbled up amongst each other, and it's the best 10 scores that will advance to the finale. So we won't know the grid until that last heat race is done, and there will be 4 of these 2 heat races. For how the scoring goes, it's 5 points for first, 4 for second, 3 for third, 2 for 4, 5 for 1 point for fifth, rather, and 6th, 7th, and 8th will score 0. So watch out for that as things continue on. And it's quite early in the morning. We saw that the temperature's pretty low. There's Burns definitely taking advantage of the lack of track boundaries here today. So Burns is doing what he can to try and maximize his practice time. But DJ, early morning race, at least they've got the grip to help them.
Yeah, indeed. That's certainly going to help them. Only about 67 degrees on track temperature. That does mean tires will be a little bit chilly when they get started, but once we get up and going into things, I think that's certainly going to help out a lot, as they're not going to have to worry about any tire wear or anything like that.
Well, as the drivers continue on around, I just saw Titus DeYoung have a bit of a spin in the first corner. Now we joke about this being more of a fun race and whatnot. Obviously, it is important to the drivers because, I mean, they're racers. We always want to try and win. And this practice probably actually quite important. I don't know about you, DJ, but to me, this is honestly one of the underdog cars in terms of difficulty on iRacing. The supercars, any generation to me, have always seemed one of the most difficult to master.
Oh, they are incredibly tricky, Joe. I mean, just basically imagine that you're running around here in a car that weighs about roughly around a little bit less, the same as a NASCAR, with a whole bunch of power underneath it. It's not like the light and nimble GT cars that we often see running around here. It's a lot of physicality with it. And there's one of the biggest problems you can see there, is it's very, very easy to lock up the rear tires on this. It's very easy to lock up any part of the car depending on where you have that brake bias. So very, very tricky. It's going to be a handful for these drivers who are so used to driving the light and nimble skippies.
Yeah, I was going through trying to see what kind of fun paint schemes we have this time. It's been a bit of a tradition here in the Absolute Beginners Race of Champions, is they will come up with sort of fun things on them. Haven't seen too many meme ones like we've had in the past, as Tolini having some trouble here up at the top. I do see Ludwig Sauer's got a giant pickle on his in a couple places. I'm not sure the significance of it. It's not Pickle Rick, I can see that. But as he makes the jump, and successfully, that's at least one that we're trying to understand the reference of.
Yeah, not entirely sure on that one, but always some fun stuff to see as drivers get themselves out and going around here. Just some good fun is really what this is. It's a chance for drivers to let their hair down a little bit, and, you know, we're going to see some real ones. Speaking of memes, Joe, I think Wojciech Podolczyk's scheme there may be from the original The End of the World, that old YouTube video.
the okay, here's the world round. Is that what you're?
I see that's what it is. Yeah.
It looks like a Pokeball to me. I don't remember.
Maybe I could be crazy.
Yeah, we're kind of debating in the background as well. But if it is a reference, that is one of my favorites. My wife and I reference that one all the time, honestly. So. See Tolini now heading down through the dipper, and they should have started by now, so I'm not sure what's happening here on the practice, because they should be starting to grid up for the first race. But Lucetta coming around, having missed out on the championship this time, probably eager to try and prove himself and see if he can get this one rolling and get himself some victories and maybe some bragging rights when we come around to the upcoming season. But we've got, it looks like I'm seeing in the realm of about, I think, a dozen drivers that have shown up so far.
Yeah, about a dozen or so we are seeing. That should be about right. I think 16 was what we were expecting there or thereabouts for the final car count as we watch here. That's Alexander Wilford. That's not the way you want to go there, Alexander.
I mean, practice is important, and sometimes practice involves discovering how not to do it. Podolczyk taking a lot of curb there around Murray's. And maybe they're waiting here until 15 after the start of the session to get going. We'll check and hold on to that here in a moment. Tellini now heading up through Griffin's Bend at the end of that mountain straight and starting into the more difficult part of the track as now we check in on Pleasure down through the mountain portion past the Dipper and perhaps one of the more simple paint schemes out there.
Yeah, Remco just basically with a straight black scheme there as it goes around. So he's going to have fun. But as I said, one of the advantages these drivers will be able to take with the no off tracks is they'll be able to take Skyline straight through and not really have to worry about that quick little flick to the right. So see a lot of people doing that. Let's see if we can stay on board here. Let's see if Remco is going to decide to try out the jump. Oh, he's not.
No, unfortunately. And it's going to give us plenty of chances to watch, though. I have a feeling we'll see a lot of jumps over the course of the races. And the drivers now getting a little bit closer together here. And this, I think, is going to be the important thing because 2 laps are not really, we're not expecting them to get too spread out. You compared it to NASCAR a bit. Close racing probably going to be a key skill around here.
Oh, very much so. You have very much got to learn how to stay very close with one another, not lose the draft. That is going to be absolutely crucial. These drivers are going to have to stay tucked up behind one another as much as possible.
Indeed. Another one over the jump for Potacek, who you just saw flash by, but he didn't make it successfully. Vincent Brame, no luck as well. And another of the pitfalls there of taking the jump is someone gets smashed into coming across. So it's all fair game. And you got to try and weigh out the risks of what you think is worth it.
Yeah, indeed you do. We jump back here to watch Remco Pleasure, and you can really just see the speed that these V8s take around here. Absolutely incredible. Let's see if Remco decides to cut through on Skyline. He does not. He's taken the traditional line there. So maybe be a little bit of a goody two-shoes here in the beginning stages is Remco to just practice things out.
Absolutely. And he swings, and trying to do a little bit of drifting around, coming around Forest Elbow. Manages not to hit the wall. That'll probably be another key point during this race, just keeping the damage out. And he's on his way.
On his way, takes a wide line for a second. Not going to do anything there. And obviously the chase there is, as you said earlier, Joe, that's going to be an area that I anticipate a lot of drivers taking on the first lap, that they're not going to go for the jump necessarily on the first lap, as it is so high risk, high reward to be able to pay it off. And you don't really want to be trailing around on the second lap here with some pretty serious suspension damage. Yes, these V8 supercars are used to taking a lot of travel in the suspension. And then they will not be able to carry it, though, even with that jump.
And we're going to take a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Hopefully, we will get going in just a moment here, but we'll be back after just a second. Yeah, that seems to me that might be
Halder taking the cut through. Here we go. He's going to close in on Silva. He took the cut through on the corkscrew last time too. Is he going to do that again here?
Let's see. He's awful close to Silva. Silva goes a little bit deep. He is going to cut right through, comes in front of him, but he's a little bit out of sorts. Car manages to get itself back together, and Nico Silva tries to cut back on him, gives him another little hello, sneaks inside, down into turn 10, and makes a pass. I can't remember the last time I saw a pass into that turn.
It's going to take a brave move to the four chicanes here. No side-by-side yet from Sanchez. Trangarade will have to hold on through a tight section. White flag coming to checkered flag now. Sanchez needs a big corner exit here. Hard through the corner towards the final chicane. A slide for Trangarade. He hits the turtles. Sanchez with the pole. Side by side, they all slide. Trangarade wins it. My goodness, what happened?
Is that going to be enough to counteract anything? That's a battle for the lead as well. Frisha trying around the outside now. He's going to try to hold it out, but again, Poli Partonen able to hold it out. Oh my goodness.
And in the back, you can just see that is Juan Costa looking out of place, trying to get on the inside of Jukka Tolonen as it comes around side by side and just shoved out to the grass. Thomas Simon has struck. He struck again, the second time in 2 corners. On the inside, going around the Lesbo 1 into Lesbo 2. Jukka Tolonen and Thomas Simon going at it. As we jump back to the car number 66 in 9th position, that is going to be Steve Way looking to make the move on Alexander Wilfred on the outside, making it nice and tidy. Hold on to your hats, come on. Don't do it now, gentlemen. It's still a bit too early. Oh, on the inside, still holding, still holding, still holding. He's hugging the inside curve as much as he can. Steve Dwyer on the last corner of the last lap makes a move and overtakes to take 8th position.
I think he has as well, but here comes the move for Philip Hammer. It's going to be down to the inside, going through the first corner, done and dusted. Lucetta tries to fight him back a little bit, but it's a little bit too late. But no, Lucetta's going to have the inside coming up the rise to Druids.
And in through Druids goes the slides. Philip Hammer is not able to make it effective on the outside, but on the inside.
Welcome back to Mount Panorama Circuit. We are going to go on a bit of a hiatus. There was some miscommunication. We'll be back for the actual race coverage in a little less than an hour's time. Please tune in for that, as we will return later for the Absolute Beginners League.